Hello friends, this is Smita and this is our next class number 6 on GST. In this class we will learn RCM, that is reverse charge mechanism, how to enter the entries of RCM, the services or goods, those are charged through RCM. This we will learn in this chapter. First of all, what do you mean by RCM? What is this concept? See, in normal case of business, the supplier of the goods or services pays the tax on supply. It means the person or the company or the business unit that sells the goods or services. While selling, they charge tax, that is GST, and such tax collected from the debtor is get submitted by this supplier to the government. This is what the general practice is. But in reverse charge mechanism, the receiver or the purchaser becomes liable to pay tax. But in this reverse charge mechanism, the purchaser, the person or the company who buys goods, liable to pay tax to the government on the goods purchased. Generally, what happens? The purchaser pay amount to the supplier, right? But in this system, the purchaser pays tax to government, not to the supplier. And that is why this is what the reverse way. So tax is reversed, and that is why it is known as a reverse charge mechanism. And the tax paid by the purchaser get reversed by adjusting the input credit, by increasing the input credit, and then that input credit get adjusted so as to reverse the tax paid to the government for the goods purchased under RCM. So RCM is the process of GST payment by the receiver instead of the supplier. So this is what RCM is, and this reverse charge is applicable to services through e-commerce operators. The services provided through e-commerce operators, such services are under the scheme of RCM. Supply of specific goods and services, for example, cashew nuts, silk yarn, raw cotton, or paying to the advocates as a fee, legal charges, all those things. These types of goods and services attracts RCM. Means the seller of this products or the service provider do not collect GST, but the receiver of this product or receiver of the services pay this GST directly to the government. And supply of unregistered dealer to registered dealer. In this case, RCM is charged. Well, this last point, that is supply from unregistered to registered dealer, is suspended till 31st of March 2020, and afterwards whichever the supply from 31st of March, that is 1st of April 2020, is considered under RCM. So let's start with this topic with the example. For example, on 31st 8, company availed the legal services from Advocate Raj and Associate amounting to rupees 80,000. See, just now we discussed the specific services, those attracts RCM. In that, advocate fees are there, that is legal fees are there. So suppose our company hired legal advice from the advocate. In that case, the fees charged by the advocate will come under RCM. Means rupees 80,000 charged by advocate Raj. Advocate Raj will charge only 80,000. That advocate will not add any GST in that amount. What we have to do, we have to pay GST on 80,000 to the government, and after paying this amount to the government, we will increase our input tax credit so that this whatever the GST we paid to the government get reversed back. This is what the concept is. So let's start entering this RCM in GST. First of all, what we have to do? We have to go enable GST on reverse charge. How to enable this? Go to Gateway of Tally, open features by pressing F11, go to GST option, and in that enable tax liability on reverse charge. So let's start with this. This is our company. Our company is Alpha Suppliers Limited, and now I'm opening features by pressing F11. Now go to GST part, taxation, enable GST, yes, and in that we have to activate this question. Enable tax liability on reverse charge, yes. Activate this option. This is the first step. Press Ctrl A to save. This is what the first step is. Next. Now create the creditor's ledger. Select registration type as unregistered. Who is creditor in our case? Advocate Rajan Associate. So we will create this ledger, and in the registration type, we will select as unregistered dealer. So go to create ledger, advocate Raj and Associates. This is our creditor because we will pay to creditor. Maintain bill by bill details, yes. And this creditor is from Maharashtra, no problem. And this is unregistered one. So registration type will be unregistered. As we have selected unregistered, it will not ask for the GST number because that person or that company or that business unit is unregistered one. So press Ctrl A to save. So this is the second step that we done with this. Now create the expense ledger. What type of expense it is? Legal charges. So we will create legal expenses, legal charges expenses, and in this provide GST rate details and activate is reverse charge applicable. Okay. So we will create the expense ledger. Legal charges or legal services. You can have any word for this. Legal services will be sorry, indirect expense. Inventory values will not get affected. GST is applicable, yes, and here we will set the details for legal charges. Now description, SAC code. This is service, so SAC code is 998213. 998213. You can Google for this SAC code. Is non-GST good? No, it is GST goods. Nature of transaction. At present, we don't know whether we are hiring the services within the state or outside the state. So for the time being, you can select not applicable. Taxability, yes, it is taxable. Is reverse charge applicable? Yes. Here we have to activate this option. Is reverse charge applicable? Yes. Is ineligible for input credit? No. Keep it as no, and the percentage of GST is 18%. So this is how we have to create legal charges as a ledger under indirect expenses and provide GST details. Now press Ctrl A to save. It is the type of supplies services, enter Ctrl A to save. So this is what the third step is. Now we will pass the purchase ledger, that is purchase voucher. Means we have purchased the services. The invoice raised by the creditor that we will enter through purchase voucher. And also check the GST analysis report. We will check the GST analysis report in this case also. So let's start entering purchase invoice. The amount of invoice is 80,000 on 31st August. So go to voucher, enter purchase voucher, and purchase voucher should be in this mode, that is accounting invoice mode. Don't select item invoice because it is a service, so accounting invoice is the mode that we need to select. So purchase invoice on 31st of August, enter. Suppliers invoice number is R A 01 Raj Associates. Select the name of the party, Advocate Raj Associates. Select the party details as it is, keep it as it is by pressing Ctrl A. Now this legal charges will be the ledger, whether this amount is inclusive or exclusive of GST. If it is inclusive, type inclusive amount, otherwise leave it as blank, keep it as 80,000, enter. And this is purchase from non-registered taxable dealer. It is the tax classification details. It is suggesting us as above that creditor selected above is unregistered dealer. So we are buying the goods or we are hiring the services from unregistered dealers. So the same option we will select from the list, purchase from unregistered dealer, taxable, but it is taxable. Okay, so this much we will enter in this purchase voucher. We will not enter any GST amount. But to check the GST analysis, what we will do, we will go to related reports, press Ctrl O from the keyboard, GST analysis, and press Alt F1 for details. See, though the taxable value is 80,000, the legal services are, these are the legal services having SAC code 998213. Purchase value is 80,000. GST within the state will get charged as CGST, SGST 7,200 each. That is 14,400 as a total amount of GST, and see the notification value overridden by the user, and note amount of tax subject to reverse charge. So this amount is subject to reverse charge. Means 80,000 plus 14,400 should be the invoice value, but that advocate has raised only 80,000 invoice. Now what we will do, we will pay 80,000 to advocate also, as well as we will pay 14,400 as a GST to government. So 14,400 is the GST amount payable to the government. So press escape and now save this entry. This is new reference and of 80,000 being legal services hired. Enter. So this is what the next step that we done through RCM. Now the next one, pass this one is one, check GSTR2. GSTR2 is for purchase transaction, that is inward transactions, so inward supplies. So we will check this GSTR2. Okay, this is very important step. So go to display more reports, GST reports, select GSTR2. Now change the period to 1st of August to 31st of August. Enter. And now see, reverse charge liability to be booked. Now there is reverse charge liability to be booked. It is available in this option. Reverse charge inward supplies is 14,400. Now we are in GSTR2. Bring your cursor on reverse charge inward supplies option that we have done. We have brought our cursor. See yellow line, it is highlighting that option. So bring your cursor on this. And now press Alt J for adjustment entry. So through this GSTR report, we will enter adjustment entry, and to enter adjustment entry totally automatically, what we have to do, we have to open GSTR2, bring your cursor to this RCM, reverse charge inward supplies, and here we will press Alt J. Now we have to provide the proper statutory adjustment. Now create ledger GST on reverse charge that we will use, which this is the entry that we need to pass, that is GST on reverse charge to output GST, output SGST. Okay. Now before creating before entering the voucher, what we have to enable, that is statutory adjustment. It is used for increasing the tax liability and additional details purchase of under reverse charge mechanism. So this is type of duty, tax, GST. Nature is to increase the tax liability, enter. And the second one, additional details will be purchase under reverse charge. So purchase under reverse charge needs to be selected. And this entry will be on the day which, on the day, on the date of which the invoice is generated, or we paid advance amount to the advocate. So whichever is earlier will be the time of supply, and on that day we will pass this adjustment entry. Now what will be the entry? GST on reverse charge account debit to output CGST, output SGST. So reverse charge on GST on reverse charge will be the new ledger which we will create under the asset group, current asset group. GST on reverse charge, current assets. Enter. GST is applicable or not? GST is applicable. It is not applicable. Include in assessable values calculation for not applicable, and press Ctrl A to save. How much is the amount? 14,400 to output CGST. The second screen will appear 9% on 80,000. 80,000 was the invoice value, right? So it was 7,200, and again output SGST 9% on 80,000. It was 7,200. Total GST to be paid to the government was 14,400, which we are adjusting to pay to government. So first part will be increasing the tax liability. Through this entry we will increase the tax liability, and then we will pay to the government. So this is the journal entry to increase the tax liability. Enter. Being adjustment entry to increase the tax liability. Enter. Enter. So now check GSTR reports once again. See, this 14,000 has now reversed back. Reverse charge inward supplies is now gone. First there was 14,400, but it is not available over here. Okay. Now again go to gateway of Tally. Next step is open payment voucher. Now we will pay to the government. How much we will pay? We will pay 14,400 to government. But this will be not through simple payment voucher. We will do this with automatic filling, that is through Control F autofill. So let's pay to the government. So entry will be GST, that is output GST, output CGST, output SGST to bank. So go to voucher, and here as it is a statutory adjustment, or that is we will pay automatic payment, we will use automatic payment. For that, first of all open the payment voucher, and in that press Ctrl F or select this autofill button. Click on this autofill button. The date will be the same, 31st August. Now it will ask for the statutory payment information. So this voucher is for statutory payment, right? We are paying to the government. So Control F for autofill and select statutory payment, and payment type will be recipient's liability. So statutory payment, this is for GST, recipient's liability. Enter. From which period, in which period this transaction was entered, in which month? It was in 1st August to 31st August 22. So select that period, enter. So this is the special payment entry, statutory payment for GST, and payment type is recipient liability. Enter. The entry will be output CGST 7,200 account debit. again debit, output SGST 7,200 to bank. So to bank, enter 14,400, give the details of check. If you have paid through e-fund transfer, select the option and keep it as it is. Now provide the GST details. Here we will provide the GST details, that is net banking through we paid. Name of the bank is Axis Bank. This CPIN and C number we will enter at present, or we can reconcile the challan that we have already learned in one of the topic of GST. So this can be entered through challan reconciliation. Just I will enter the date of the challan 31st 8, enter, being GST paid to the government. Now how to reconcile the challan? Go to display more reports, GST reports. Here is the challan to be reconciled. Now how to reconcile? Reconcile means provide all the remaining details. To select that entry or that challan, press space bar, press enter, press alt S to update the details and provide all the details. We paid through net banking. Bank name is Axis Bank. This is CPIN, is the common portal identification number. It is of 14 digits. So enter the digits. Challan identification number. This is seen is a 17 digit number, and it is bank recognition number. So Axis 123. I'm just entering the take number, and date is 31st of August. So these are the reconciliation part needs to be entered to reconcile the statement. If you provide all the detail, the option the entry which is available for reconciliation will get nullified, will go out. So it is now blank screen is showing. Escape. Now after paying to the government, what we have to do? We have to increase our input liability, so that whenever we will pay our other output tax to the government, what generally we do, before paying tax to the government, we adjust our ITC, input tax credit. Generally this is the procedure. And what is input tax credit? Whichever goods we purchase, the tax paid on that will get reversed, will get deducted from the total tax payable to the government. So same way, as we have paid extra amount to the government as a tax which was not our responsibility, what we will do, we will increase our input tax liability. So whenever we will pay the tax to the government, we will deduct more 14,400 that we have already paid to the government. Okay, so for this we need to increase our tax liability, increase our input tax liability. And how we will enter this? The entry which we entered earlier, that is GST on reverse charge to GST ledgers, that we will reverse. Now we will enter as output GST account debit, output SGST account debit to reverse charge on the GST on reverse charge. And how to enter this? We will open journal ledger, journal voucher, and in that press Alt J. So let's go to voucher entry. It is payment voucher. We will convert it into journal voucher on 31st of August, and here press Alt J. This is type of duty GST C. Open the journal voucher and press Alt J. Now it is used to increase the tax liability and purchase under reverse charge. So nature of adjustment will be increase of tax liability, increase of input tax liability. This should be increase of input tax liability, and it is for purchase from purchase under reserve charge. So purchase under reserve charge. This should be added, and now we will enter the entry as output CGST 7200, debit output SGST 7200 to GST on reverse charge. So this ledger will get nullified. Now the balance of this ledger is 0. So this is how we will increase the tax liability. Being adjustment entry, increase the input tax liability. Enter. So this is how we will increase the input tax liability. Now we will again check the GSTR report. Go to display more reports, GST reports, GSTR2 for purchase supplies. So inward supplies it is. Change the date range from 1st of August to 31st of August and see. Now available ITC is 14,400. So this ITC is available now and everything is empty now. So available ITC is 14,400. This is how the RCM transactions are entered through TallyPrime. RCM is reverse charge mechanism. This is very important topic. It might be in the interview, you might get question on reverse charge. So it is very important topic, and this is how we enter the entries in RCM in Tally. First we increase our output liability and then we increase our input liability, input tax liability. So this is RCM. Go through the whole session, try to solve the question, try to solve the example we have taken in this session, and also solve the questionnaires based on this topic. So thank you for this. Thank you.